Good afternoon, anti-novelists, Lilligans, curious onlookers, and friends. Welcome back to this episode of Zettelkasten for Fiction, where imagination finds order. Today, I have been working on the chapter for the villain, specifically. So I wanted to talk for just a minute about the unpredictable or the volatile villain. What is a volatile villain? What is an unpredictable villain? Well, it's someone whose disposition wavers. And if you're thinking about how to write a great villain, have I got some tools for you. So, your asymmetrical or your unpredictable villain only shows their true colors at the very end of the story. The cool thing is, what this allows you to do is it allows you to build dramatic tension and interest right up front, because your reader is constantly asking, will this person be evil or won't they? Will they go after the dark side or won't they? It's a great way to build tension into your story. So your reader may not realize that this villain is evil until a critical moment of redemption when they make the wrong choice. That, my friends, is great story writing. If you're writing a conflict-driven narrative with an all-star villain, keeping your reader guessing about if this person is evil and what they may or might not do is a great way to build that tension. So, what does that look like? Let's look at this little tool that I am putting together for you. This is what I like to call my continuum of evil. Pretty cool, huh? Let's call this the plus side, and let's call this the minus side. On the plus side, you've got the anti-villain, which is your morally gray villain. This is someone that you're just not really sure where they fall on the black to white zone. Are they evil or are they not? Maybe they have one aspect of them that could be considered evil or negative, but what if they're making that choice for the right reason? That is a great villain if you want to do that unpredictable, don't really know thing. Underneath that, I've written the bully, the wolf, the groomer, and then also the predator. This comes from my self-defense training. Some of you might not know this about me. I own a self-defense training company, which I have just liquidated in order to write full-time. So you get the benefit of that. However, something that I spent a lot of time training, particularly young people on, teenagers, I'm looking at you, were how to identify what kind of bad guy you're dealing with. Is it just a bully that maybe has a wound that causes them to behave like a jerk? Or is it a wolf, which is someone who stalks their prey in order to kill it? Or is it a groomer, someone who manipulates you in order to get on your good side? There's lots of different kinds of bullying bad guys. So in this chapter, in the book Zettelkasten for Fiction, I'm going to walk you through all these bad guys and explain how you can use those in order to pull that reader into your story, and even more importantly, how to torment your protagonist, which is what you're there for. As the writer, as the author of your story, if it is a villain, conflict-driven story, you got to be mean. You got to kick your protagonist, your hero, every chance you get. And in this chapter, I'm going to show you some of the ways that you get that done. In the middle, I've got the mastermind. The mastermind, though they are evil and awesome, they are very much up in their brain. They're not a big, beefy behemoth guy, so they can be defeated physically, so they're very much one-dimensional in that regard, which is why they fall in the middle, because they can basically be kicked in the face and they're done. Over towards the negative side, you've got the machine, which could be interpreted as your android, your actual machine, non-human based, like, Terminator type of thing. A lot of things could fall under a machine type of villainy. But I'm going to go into those and break some of those down for you and show you how to toggle those features around so that you can harness those. And then I've got your henchmen, which is basically your accomplices. You've got the people that maybe your villain favors, which brings up an interesting dynamic. Are they nicer to the people who are their henchmen and accomplices than they are to other people? Like they save their real cruelty for people outside their circle? That's up to you to decide. You are the author. You get to choose. Then you've got your fanatic, your beast, and basically your fully evil incarnate. Those are the three that fall the furthest to the dark side of the evil spectrum. Obviously, your fanatic cannot be dealt with because they are driven by some kind of bias or fanaticism that could be ideological, religious. We go into all kinds of reasons how you get that done. Your beast mode is like I talked about over here. That's your full-on predator. That's the thing that cannot be reckoned with. Their mind cannot be changed. They are simply the evil beast monster from hell, and they're going to get your good guy no matter what. And then, of course, your full incarnation of evil, which is just the evilest of the evil. That's like getting into your dark sci-fi, post-apocalyptic, horror fantasy. That's where you really get to lean into those truly supernaturally evil villains. So, what all this leads up to is, in this chapter on the continuum of evil and how you start to use your research and your Zettelkasten to build out villain modules so that you can start to cherry pick each of those pieces and put together by stacking those traits the best villain that you can. That is how you're going to get that done. And I'm walking you through that in the book. So I'm extremely excited about this chapter. What can you do right now in order to start facilitating this process? Well, number one, start thinking about who are your favorite bad guys and why. Create some of those cards that give you a little bit of a high-level view about what kind of bad guy appeals to you. Do you like the dark psychological thriller? Do you like the fanatic who is ideologically driven because of a cause or an idea? Do you just like the killing beast machine who can't be stopped and can't be slowed down and pursues and dogs your hero? Make a decision and pursue that a little bit in your writing. Start drafting. What kind of scenes, what kind of scenarios, how can you use your experience captures in order to flesh out the nature of your villain? That is a great writing exercise. Even if you don't end up using it in your story, just going through the process of writing out what kinds of details can you use to portray that villain for your reader is going to flex your writer muscle and give you a much better handle on how to believably create that bad guy. Things like, does he have physical characteristics that are creepy or that catch your attention in a negative way? Like, I don't know, he's got a weird limp, or he's got a disfigurement of his face from a terribly violent thing. You can come up with all kinds of great examples if you just put your brain on it. Or maybe you're going after the machine style villain, like the Terminator type, the kind that is technologically driven. What kinds of features could you give that bad guy, which would immediately identify him as a character of question to your reader? Start brainstorming and drafting those things out. If you just start asking your brain, how can I portray a great bad guy, a great villain, and what kind of things does that look like? And start making those lists. I guarantee you're going to come up with a pretty cool list of stuff that you can then store in your cards for safekeeping and use later. So I'll leave you there for today. Start thinking about your bad guy. I'm going to finish this chapter and get to a little bit more of writing. Now, for those of you that are following me daily, full disclosure, this is Friday evening, the 27th of September. I am leaving on Sunday morning, so day after tomorrow, for a week-long writing retreat that I take every year. I go into the backcountry of Wyoming where we have a cattle ranch, and I literally sit and write for an entire week. I'm going to use that time to finish this book for you. So, internet is spotty at best. I will do my level best to get a video up at least every other day if I can, but I cannot make any promises because the intertubes are just not that reliable where we will be. So if you don't hear from me for a week or a few days, don't panic. I am furiously hammering away to get this book into your hands, and I will touch base with you the moment I am back in civilization. So keep writing. Keep those pens on the page, get those words down on the page because they won't stay in your head forever. And I will post tomorrow, and then I will post as soon as I can during my trip. Thank you all. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for your comments and for coming with me on this journey. And I have everything packed to head out and get this book written and into your hands. I will see you tomorrow.